Hey Brad, first of all, thank you for your time today.
Certainly.
Really appreciate it, really
Certainly.
appreciate it. You know, we've had the opportunity to work with Coppell ISD over the last few years.
Yes.
In regards to unconscious bias training. And unconscious bias, as you know, and you've been exposed to our training and our workshops, is all about understanding ourselves and our behaviors.
Yes.
As it relates to our unconscious biases and how that might affect our behavior.
Sure.
Towards others, events, and situations. Now, we've had the opportunity to work with the faculty, the staff, students. Yeah.
Yes.
And so can you maybe give us some feedback on what you're hearing from those people?
I would love to, Bill. The feedback has been so positive. It's really struck a nerve and a chord with a lot of our staff members, things that people didn't realize were their unconscious bias that bubbled to the top. It's been very well received. We have had a request for more training, which I think is always a good sign.
And we're going beyond the students and the faculty and staff. We've had some parents, some PTO members.
We have.
And some members in the community in some of the
Yes,
training.
sir. That I think has been very powerful because we were able to have those training sessions with a variety of people. So it wasn't just staff exclusively. We oftentimes did have parents in there, and that I think really helped shed a light on how we were engaging with our community, how our community has been engaging with us. We again struck a chord in a positive way as far as things that we could do to either change or things we can continue to do. Just great feedback. I think it has so much more potential. We definitely want to continue the work and expand that training to more staff, more parents, more community members, and really more kids. We were only to do a small piece with our kids. And as I talk to other school leaders, I tell them that's really an important part. You don't want to miss the kids. We have had some issues, unfortunately, that we've had to address and deal with, but we would rather be proactive and think about what we can do to focus on that engagement and build those positive relationships. Those are two of our core values in the district, and this work really aligns with our core values and what we believe in Coppell ISD.
Yeah, and speaking of students, we found out through testing and working with the system and the school and the students that the 8th through 12th graders were probably the most appropriate group and most effective group to work with.
Exactly. I'm not saying that younger grades and younger children couldn't benefit from it, but I think the way you all have structured the work and how it's all set up, it really is most effective in the upper middle school and high school setting.
Right. Outside our workshops and the work we're doing on bias training, you're experiencing tremendous demographic change here in Coppell. So I'm sure you're doing other things in the community, other activities. Anything you want to share with us outside what we're doing?
Sure, I appreciate you bringing that up. We have really experienced a rapid change in the past 4 to 8 years in Coppell ISD with our demographics shifts and changes, particularly in our Asian Indian population. And so what we are trying to do, and as I said, it's one of our core values as far as community engagement and collective engagement, how we can better engage with our community. And so that has really helped us look at our hiring practices, our training modules, opportunities that we have in the community to interface with our community members. So it's events after hours as well as during the school day, just really trying to be open with what's going on out there and sharing ideas. So if a community member comes to us and says, hey, we would love to see the Coppell ISD more involved with this organization or this activity or this special event, we do our best to try to have some representation there.
And when we began to work with your team here, we saw there was a big difference culturally and otherwise between the student-parent population and the staff and the people involved in leadership in ISD in terms of differences, outer appearances.
Exactly, and we recognize and realize that a great teacher can teach someone that looks different from them. We know that, but we also know that kids do respond to people that look like them, and they need to have people in authoritative roles, whether that be teacher, administrator, counselor, that look like them. And so we've really tried to focus on our hiring practice to make sure that we are hiring the best staff first and foremost, but looking at diversity within those hiring practices. So we've looked at our recruiting practices as far as what campuses we're going to at the college level, what job fairs that we're going to make sure that we're going to ones that have attendees that are going to be meeting our demographic need, as well as just a good variety and diversity within those applicants. We've looked at ways to expand our recruitment with different radio stations that might have an audience that's predominantly more of a certain demographic that we're trying. I am glad you brought up the hiring practices. So we've really looked at our hiring team, so that when we go to a job fair, we don't just bring people that look like me, we bring a diverse team, so that when applicants come to our table, they can see themselves in Coppell ISD. And I just think that's really important.
Yeah, and one of the tools we really try to create an environment around our training is a tool of understanding your own possible unconscious biases, which play into how you interview, how you hire, your thought process unconsciously or subconsciously towards an individual that you may not be aware of. So you can identify, understand that, and then act appropriately with favorable behavior versus unfavorable behavior.
Exactly, and we learned that, some of it trial by error, some of it was very intentional with our plan, but some of it, again, was trial by error. We found out from some of our questions that they did have somewhat of a bias that we just didn't realize, and so we kept wondering why we weren't getting responses from applicants. And then when we had a focus group of our current staff, that it was a very diverse group, and they just were very frank and honest with us and said, hey, some of the questions you're asking are coming from a context that we just don't have that, or don't have that yet, or maybe have it in a different way. And so we thought, wow, we could still still have strong questions and get what we need to from that, but let's reword it in a way that is more culturally inclusive, and we're seeing great results from that.
Well, if you had to summarize our working relationship over the past few years, how would you summarize that?
Outstanding.
Yeah.
I think not only have we developed a great working relationship, we've developed a great friendship. And through that, I think that's really what the spirit of unconscious bias is all about. It's finding out what we have in common, but also recognize what we have that's different. And we celebrate those differences, we don't shy away from them, but we also realize oftentimes, especially in an education setting, we have more in common than we have different. We all want our kids to be successful, we all want our kids to have a great experience, and we've been able to really accomplish so much of that through this unconscious bias training. I feel like we've just touched the tip of the iceberg, though. I feel like there's so much more to be done, and I'm just excited about this work. I'm excited about what you're able to do, and I'm also hopeful that we're able to help the company too, because they've been so great to us.
Yeah, and the safe environment for being open and communicating thoughts and processes that you may not feel comfortable communicating outside the workshops, I think is a benefit to all the participants.
I agree, and I think that it also gives permission to open a door. That this is a door that we're going to open that's hopefully going to extend that relationship beyond that training. So whether it's let's get together for lunch, or let's get together for coffee, or let's just follow up with small groups. There's a lot of reflection during the training, obviously, but we want it to be sustained and be more than just let's have a great moment together at this training, but let's really look at systematic and systemic changes that are more positive, not only for our students, of course we're focusing on our kids, but for our parents and our staff members too. One area where we're looking to expand, we haven't really been able to get this off and running yet, but we definitely want to have some board training. I think it's really critical that our leadership outside of the school setting, our board specifically, has training in this area, because they represent our community and they are also focusing on the needs of our kids. And I think boards could really benefit from this training as well. So I'm excited about adding that to our repertoire of experiences and very hopeful that it'll be received in the way that it's been received already with our staff.
Well, Brad, again, I appreciate your time today and taking the time to sit down with us. We really appreciate the relationship and the working relationship with the Coppell ISD team and the faculty, staff, students, and parents, and PTO members.
Yes.
And fortunately, coming soon, probably the board.
That's our plan.
So we're excited. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.